Big Boy is the popular name of the American Locomotive Company 4000 Class 488-4 articulated, coal-fired, steam locomotives manufactured between 1941 and 1944 and operated by the Union Pacific Railroad until 1959. The Big Boy fleet of 25 locomotives were used primarily in the Wyoming Division to haul freight over the Wasatch Mountains between Green River, Wyoming and Ogden, Utah. They were the only locomotives to use a 488 four-wheel arrangement consisting of a four-wheel leading truck for stability entering curves, two sets of 8 driving wheels and a four-wheel trailing truck to support the large firebox. According to Union Pacific Senior Manager of Heritage Operations Ed Dickens, Jr., the 488-4 series originally was to have been called Wasatch. One day while one of the engines was being built, an unknown worker scrawled Big Boy in chalk on its front. With that, the legendary name was born and has stuck ever since. Design. Union Pacific introduced the Challenger-type locomotives in 1936 on its main line over the Wasatch Range between Green River, Wyoming and Ogden, Utah. For most of the route, the maximum grade is 0.82% in either direction, but the climb eastward from Ogden, Utah into the Wasatch Range reached 1.14%. Hauling a 3,600 short-ton freight train demanded double heading and helper operations, and adding and removing helper engines slowed operations. To eliminate the need for double heading and helper operations, Union Pacific decided to design a new locomotive. For such a locomotive to be worthwhile, it would have to be faster and more powerful than slower locomotives like earlier compound 2880s that UP tried after World War I. To avoid locomotive changes, the new class would need to pull long trains at a sustained speed of 60 miles per hour once past mountain grades. In fact, it was designed so that it could travel smoothly and safely at 80 miles per hour, even though it was not intended to be used that fast. Led by mechanic Otto Jabelman, the Union Pacific Railroad's design team worked with the American Locomotive Company to re-examine the Challenger locomotives. The team found that Union Pacific's goals could be achieved by enlarging its firebox to approximately 235 by 96 inches, lengthening the boiler, adding 4 driving wheels and reducing the size of the driving wheels from 69 to 68 in on a new engine. The Big Boys are articulated like the Mallet locomotive design. They were built with a wide margin of reliability and safety, and normally operated well below 60 miles per hour in freight service. Peak horsepower was reached at about 35 miles per hour, optimal tractive effort at about 10 miles per hour. Without the tender, the Big Boy has the longest engine body of any reciprocating steam locomotive. Manufacturing. The American Locomotive Company manufactured 25 Big Boy locomotives for Union Pacific, 2 groups of 10 in 1941 and 1 group of 5 in 1944. Operation. The Big Boy locomotives had large grates to burn the low-quality bituminous coal from Union Pacific-owned mines in Wyoming. As an experiment, Locomotive 4005 was converted to burn oil. Unlike a similar effort with the Challengers, it failed due to uneven heating in the Big Boy's large, single-burner firebox. Post-war increases in the price of both coal and labor and the efficiency of diesel-electric motive power foretold a limited life for the Big Boys, but they were among the last steam locomotives taken out of service. Towards the end of the career, the Big Boys could still pull more than the rated tonnage of 6,573 short tons. The Big Boys' ratings were increased several times until they regularly pulled 8,727 short tons over the Wasatch Range. change. The last revenue train hauled by Big Boy ended its run early in the morning on July 21, 1959. Most were stored operational until 1961 and 4 remained in operational condition at Green River, Wyoming until 1962. The duties were assumed by diesel locomotives and gas turbine electric locomotives. Accident. On April 27, 1953, Locomotive 4005 was pulling a freight train through southern Wyoming and jumped the switch track at 50 miles per hour, throwing the engine onto its left side and derailing its tender and the first 18 freight cars of the 62-car train. The engineer and firemen were killed instantly on impact, and the brakeman died in a hospital a few days later from his severe burns. The cab of the locomotive was destroyed by the tender, and the loads from the 18 derailed cars were scattered near the site of the accident. After this incident, 4005 was repaired by Union Pacific at its Cheyenne facility. Preservation. Of the 25 Big Boy locomotives manufactured, 8 remain. 7 of the 8 surviving Big Boys are on static display. 1, number 4014, is undergoing a restoration to operating condition for excursion service, which includes conversion to No. 5 oil firing. 5 are displayed outdoors without protection from the elements. 4005 and 4017 are displayed indoors. The remaining Big Boy locomotives are located throughout the United States. 4004 Holiday Park, Cheyenne, Wyoming, 41.136750 degrees north, 104.799833 degrees west, 41.136750 minus 104.799833. 4005 Forney Transportation Museum, Denver, Colorado, 39.777050 degrees north, 104.97050 degrees west, 39.777050 minus 104.97050. The Forney Transportation Museum in Denver moved 4005 to a renovated building in January 2001. 4006 Museum of Transportation, St. Louis, Missouri, 38.572147 degrees north, 90.461111 degrees west, 38.572147 minus 90.461111. 4012 Steamtown National Historic Site, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 41.40748889 degrees north, 75.669667 degrees west, 41.40748889 minus 75.669667. Built in November 1941. Union Pacific retired 4012 in 1962. 4012 was on display at Steamtown, USA in Bellows Falls, Vermont until 1984, when it was moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania. 4012 is displayed outdoors since the Steamtown turntable and roundhouse are inadequate for 4012 size. The Steamtown SHS recommended that due to its good condition, No. 4012 could be feasibly restored to working order, but only after determining if surrounding track, switches, culverts, trestles, bridges, wires, turntables and other facilities could bear her great weight. 4014 Union Pacific Railroad, Cheyenne, Wyoming, 34.08346 degrees north, 117.7698278 degrees west, 34.0834600, minus 117.7698278, reacquired by Union Pacific in 2013 and moved from its static display in Fairplex Rail Giants Museum in Pomona, California, to be restored to full steam operation and operated in excursion service. 4017 National Railroad Museum, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 44.484083 degrees north, 88.048639 degrees west, 44.484083 minus 88.048639 no. 4017 now resides in a climate-controlled shed. 4018 Museum of the American Railroad, Frisco, Texas, 33.144513 degrees north, 96.83344 degrees west, 33.144513 minus 96.83344 no. 4018 was part of the museum's collection at its former location in Dallas, Texas, and was relocated by rail to the museum's new location north of Dallas in Frisco, Texas on August 25, 2013. 4023 Pecan Park, Omaha, Nebraska, 41.232139 degrees north, 95.917806 degrees west, 41.232139 minus 95.917806. Number 4023 is the only known big boy to move by highway since preservation to Kennethig Park in Omaha.